Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sharon Henry, Sweets at Sharon on YouTube. How are you all doing? So guys, just want to talk about the ongoing argument about the Cuban doctors program in Jamaica and the Caribbean. So Marco Rubio has been to Jamaica, and I watched the press conference in Kingston, and I listened to the welcome speech that the Prime Minister had given to him, and I listened to him thanking the Prime Minister to welcome him. One of the things, though, when the Prime Minister will welcome him, he had some top agendas, something that they were going to speak about. They talk about Haiti, they talk about trade, he talks about everything else except the Cuban doctor program. And so when he was accepting the welcome, Marco Rubio, it didn't come up either. But, all right, of course, when they finished speaking, the reporters were given, I believe, 2 questions each. It was 4 reporters, and they were given 2 questions each. And, of course, the question came up. I was impressed with this Jamaican young lady, one of the reporters, because Marco Rubio also traveled with his entourage, and his reporter asked him questions, but and he kind of alluded to the question about the Cuban doctors, but it was not the way the guy asked the question. It kind of prevented him to answer straightforwardly. But the Jamaican young lady asked the question straightforward.
To the matter of the Cuban Medical Corporation program as well. So the medical mission has been a cornerstone of healthcare in Jamaica and the Caribbean for over 50 years, according to our foreign minister. How does the U.S. reconcile its stance on this program with the region's reliance on Cuban medical professionals, and what alternatives does it propose to ensure healthcare stability?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to separate medical from the labor issues that we are pointing to. Okay, this is not about doctors. Okay, this is not about the provision of medical assistance. We have no problem with medical assistance. We have no problem with doctors. We have a problem, and I'm not speaking about Jamaica. We've discussed this today about, following international labor standards and the like, but I'm just talking about this program in general, how it's operated around the world. And how it's operated around the world is that basically the doctors are not paid. In many other parts of the world, the doctors are not paid. You pay the Cuban government. The Cuban government decides how much of anything to give them. They take away their passports. They basically operate as forced labor in many places. Now, there are places that have better labor standards. Perhaps Jamaica is one of those, and that's fine. But I'm describing generally what the program has been. It has operated in that way in many parts of the world and placed these people in tremendous danger. And so I think we can all agree that the trafficking in labor, be they doctors or farm workers, is not something that we would want to be supportive of, and we find that to be an egregious practice on the part of the Cuban regime. Now, every country operates their program differently. And obviously, because of our relationship with Jamaica, we're going to engage with them on that and talk about it further and have a better understanding. Perhaps none of this applies in the way it's handled here. But generally, that's the problem with the program. It's not that they're Cuban doctors. It's that the regime does not pay these doctors, takes away their passports, and basically it is, in many ways, forced labor. And that we cannot be in support of. Again, not speaking about here in particular, but in general about the program.
Well, his response were, it's not about doctors. It's not about doctors. It's about employment exploitation. Maybe not in so many words, but that's what he meant. And he said that he accused Cuba of human trafficking, that the doctors are being sent to work, their passports are confiscated, and they're working for the Cuban government. When they work, the money is sent to the Cuban government, and the Cuban government give them what they want to give them, and that is human trafficking and exploitation. Now, prior to him saying that, our Prime Minister had spoken a little bit lengthy about the program, and also said that no, we have the Cuban doctors in Jamaica. They serve us well, and we pay them just as how we would have paid our Jamaican doctors. They're treated well and all of that. The Prime Minister said that. And mark you, I was expecting a stronger argument from the Prime Minister talking about how we are helped by the Cuban doctors. But however, he did his part. It wasn't entirely strong, because what I listened to is he do not want to jeopardize or say anything that will cause a conflict with him and the United States. However, he stated his argument, and it came well across. He did not do anything to seem that he's not standing up. All right. But yeah, the guy, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, said that Cuba is exploiting the workers. And at the end of the press conference, he cemented, the claim, and said that America still stand on what they believe about the Cuban doctor program. So in my mind, he's saying we're still we're still not changing our stance. And then he's always saying that, when it comes to that, we're not talking about Jamaica. He keep on, and I believe because he's in Jamaica, and that he would be held responsible for what he says. He was very guarded and careful in how he talked about the program. But at the end, he said, and we, America, still stand on what we believe about the program. So I am thinking it's not about the Cuban doctors, as he said, but it's a beef they have against Cuba. Period. It's a political beef they have against Cuba. Period. So, yes, guys, that's what I got from the whole thing. They talk about the trade agreement. And number two, what they spoke about was the green card holders. Especially, it was talked about Jamaican green card holders, because she again asked about holders of green card that is afraid to travel outside of America because they're afraid that their green card would be taken away. So he said, if you are a green card holder, you are not illegal in America. And I believe I got that, but a lot of people are still, afraid. But here's the catch, guys. He specifically said that if you're a criminal, if you're in gangs, if you do anything that is illegal, of course, if you're in the system and they catch you, for instance, you're leaving America, going to Jamaica, and they run your green card and you have a criminal record. And that criminal record can be 30 years ago, way back, but it's going to come back. So I believe that's the problem that a lot of people have, being afraid to travel because they know that they have criminal records that may come up. And it will come up with this administration. They're making sure that it come up, because I believe that the amount of people that was promised to be deported is not being deported. So they're being careful now to find anything that they can find to deport you. So I think that's what you should be afraid of. If you have a criminal record, yes, you should be afraid. But if you're a valid, upstanding citizen or a green card holder of America, you don't have to be afraid. He made that clear, and that makes sense to me. Another thing, when he was elaborating about crime and immigration, he was talking about if you are a student and you hold a green card and you go to bomb up somewhere, to bomb up schools and to incite violence in the street. Let me tell you something, Mr. Marco Rubio. Nobody does that. Only American does that. So our Jamaican student that is in America with a green card would not do that. We don't have a history of going into school and shooting up school and all of that. So Jamaicans, student abroad, be careful, you are not inciting violence, although we are not guilty of that, but he put that in there. So it's kind of, they just want to find something to deport you because the deportation quota is low. The numbers are not really adding up for the amount that they say they want to deport. All right, so that is my summary on the whole visit. There are a lot of things, but those are the important points that I take away from it. And of course, you can analyze it for yourself. And I will see you in the next one. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to Sweets at Sharon on YouTube. Bye and peace out.